Chapter 669. The three of them continued forward while releasing their divine senses to investigate their surroundings. After a while, the woman wearing thin clothes suddenly smiled happily and pointed in a certain direction. "There should be spirit medicines over there." Saying so, she hurriedly led the other two over. Dozens of zhang away, the three of them worked hard to push aside a few feet of deep snow. Under the snow, there was a crystal-clear plant growing. Under the sunlight, the stem and leaves reflected a blurry halo, like a crystal. It was quite beautiful. At the top of this plant, there were a few fingernail-sized snow-white fruits that emitted a faint fragrance. Elder Sister Ji is amazing. The white jade fruit was hidden so deeply, yet you were able to find it. The younger woman looked excited and clapped her hands. Ji Meng chuckled and glanced over at Zhu Yingyu affectionately, comforting her. "Pay more attention, you'll also find it." Zhu Yingyu pouted. "I've tried my best, but every time I can't compare to you, even Big Brother Qi can't compare." Hearing this, Qi Chao was a little unhappy. "Am I weak?" Zhu Yingyu snorted. "You're much worse than Elder Sister Ji." Ji Meng patted her head. "When we go back, I'll share some with you, don't be discouraged." The latter nodded innocently. Qi Chao stepped forward and said, "Let's pick them first. Be careful not to damage the roots. After a dozen years or so, they'll bear more white jade fruits." Ji Meng nodded, stretched out her jade white hands, and carefully picked up the few fruits, placing them into her universe bag. For spirit grasses and spirit medicines that could regenerate, a cultivator generally wouldn't damage their roots when harvesting them. Draining the pond to catch all the fish wasn't a good thing and would also reduce the production of spirit grasses and spirit medicines. With such a harvest, the three of them were very happy. Suddenly, Qi Chao and Ji Meng frowned and turned to look in a certain direction, their faces filled with vigilance. They felt that someone was quickly approaching from that direction. A moment later, a vague figure appeared in the snow and soon arrived a few dozen meters in front of the three of them. Yang Kai saw the expressions of the three of them but didn't pay them any mind. Suddenly encountering a stranger in the wilderness, no matter who it was, they would be vigilant. Before he came here, he had confirmed that their cultivation bases were not enough to threaten him. That was why he had shown himself so generously. If the other party had a second-order transcendent or above master, Yang Kai would have avoided them. The three of them weren't that old, so it shouldn't be hard to talk to them. Yang Kai nodded slightly, revealing a friendly smile. "Who are you?" Qi Chao took a step forward and stood in front of Ji Meng and Zhu Yingyu, coldly asking, "How did you appear in this snow mountain range?" "Just a traveler who accidentally lost his way." Yang Kai's expression was kind. "A passerby?" Qi Chao frowned and looked at Yang Kai from head to toe. His face was full of suspicion. "It's not as simple as just passing by. Do you have some other purpose for entering this snowy mountain?" The other party's expression was somewhat unfriendly, causing Yang Kai to scratch his head in confusion. Wondering where he had offended this man, he could only explain, "I was really just passing by and noticed your aura, so I came to take a look. I don't have any other intentions, I just wanted to ask how to get out of here. I've been wandering around this snowy mountain range for many days now." As he spoke, Yang Kai suddenly noticed the white jade fruit tree behind them, its crystal-clear appearance causing Yang Kai to take a second look. Qi Chao carefully observed Yang Kai's expression and became vigilant, staring deeply at Yang Kai. However, Yang Kai's expression remained calm, not showing the slightest discomfort. Yang Kai wasn't lying. Although he had been sent out from the mysterious small world, his current purpose was to find a clear direction and leave this boundless snow mountain range first. After a while, Qi Chao restrained his hostility and slowly nodded. "I'll believe you for the time being, but this snow mountain range is not a place for outsiders to enter. If you want to leave, just go in that direction." Saying so, he stretched out his hand and pointed in a certain direction. Yang Kai turned his head and glanced over before cupping his fists. "Many thanks, we'll meet again." As soon as his voice fell, he activated his movement skill and flew off in that direction. "Wait!" Qi Chao shouted coldly. "What's wrong?" Yang Kai stopped and frowned. "You haven't collected any spirit grasses or spirit medicines in this snow mountain range, right? If you have, please hand them over." This is my spirit religion's territory. Everything here belongs to my spirit religion. Outsiders cannot take away even a blade of grass or a tree. Yang Kai couldn't help showing a look of ridicule on his face as he became a little impatient. Not to mention that he hadn't collected anything. Even if he had, with the other party using such a commanding tone, there was no way he would hand it over. This snow mountain range was so large that it was impossible for a single great force to occupy it all. Glancing at the two women behind him, Yang Kai was too lazy to make a fuss and simply said, "I don't have any." The next moment, Yang Kai felt a divine sense sweep across his body unscrupulously. This person's courage is so big. Yang Kai couldn't help laughing. Wasn't this person afraid he would counterattack and instantly injure him? Thinking about it for a moment, Yang Kai didn't make any unnecessary movements and simply let this person investigate him. After a while, Chi Chao nodded with satisfaction. "You can go." Yang Kai didn't say a word, turned around, and flew off into the snow. After he left, Zhu Yingyu whispered, "Brother Chi, that way, sure." Chi Chao raised a finger and slowly shook his head, glancing around before leading the two women in a different direction. Zhu Yingyu followed behind them with a suspicious look on her face, from time to time glancing back in the direction Yang Kai disappeared, a worried look flashing across her eyes. After walking for a full hour, Zhu Yingyu finally couldn't help asking again, "Brother Chi, why did you point him in the wrong direction?" Ji Meng smiled and said, "I also want to know, Chi Chao, what are you doing? That person is very suspicious, haven't you noticed?" Chi Chao glanced at them and said firmly, "His words can't be trusted." Ji Meng was speechless and slowly shook her head. "Even if he's a bit suspicious, this isn't the way to harm others. You're trying to kill him. That's the monster beast's range of activity. If he went in alone, how could he possibly survive? His life or death has nothing to do with us." Chi Chao coldly snorted. "When going out, one must always be on guard. His strength seems to be higher than ours. I'm just making plans for our safety." "How do you know?" "I didn't even notice it," Zhu Yingyu asked innocently. "Because he discovered us first," Chi Chao explained. "He's not a disciple of the spirit religion, so he came to this snow mountain range either to collect herbs or for some other purpose. Didn't you notice that when he saw the white jade fruit tree, he showed an expression of interest? If I hadn't dragged him away, he might have killed me to steal the treasure. It doesn't matter if I die, but if you too fall into the hands of such a person..." Zhu Yingyu's pretty face paled as her tender body trembled slightly. Recalling Yang Kai's appearance, she faintly felt that this person really was a beast with a human face. Ji Meng's brow furrowed as she curled her lips. "How can you think so badly of people? What if it's really as he said and he's just a traveler who lost his way? It's normal to get lost in this snow mountain range." "Then you might as well go back and find him now and tell him that this is a dead end," Chi Chao snorted. Ji Meng angrily asked, "Where am I supposed to find him now? When I lied to him just now, didn't you not say anything? Now you're entangled with me, it's just an outsider," Chi Chao also said angrily. "I'm just worried that you're from the same sect. I don't want you to lose face in front of outsiders." "Don't argue." Zhu Yingyu saw the two of them arguing more and more fiercely and quickly tried to dissuade them. Fine, just this once, there won't be a next time." "Really? Good people don't have good karma," Chi Chao said disheartenedly as he strode forward. Ji Meng sighed helplessly and glanced back, hesitating for a moment before shaking her head and keeping up with Chi Chao's pace. "Elder sister Ji, will he die?" Zhu Yingyu asked softly. "Maybe. Did Brother Chi make a mistake?" "No, he has his own reasons." Ji Meng smiled lightly. However, that person had released his divine sense before he appeared and deliberately notified the three of them, so obviously he didn't have any malicious intentions. If he really did have malicious intentions, he could have concealed himself and launched a sneak attack. Ji Meng couldn't understand why Chi Chao had pointed him in the wrong direction, making her feel very guilty towards this stranger. Yang Kai's face was gloomy as he stared down at the seventh-order monster beast's corpse at his feet, breathing heavily. His body was covered in blood, so the battle just now had not been easy. A seventh-order monster beast was equivalent to a human transcendent realm cultivator. Fortunately, this seventh-order monster beast wasn't too difficult to deal with. Following the guidance of the yellow-robed man, Yang Kai had encountered 7 or 8 monster beast attacks in just 3 or 5 days. These monster beasts, without exception, had all been killed by him. If it had been any other peak immortal ascension boundary cultivator, fighting a native ice attribute monster beast in such a harsh environment, they would have died countless times already. Moreover, as time passed, Yang Kai found that the nearby snowstorm was getting heavier and heavier. It seemed that he had returned to the same place. This discovery caused his expression to turn ugly. By now, he also realized that he had been deceived by the yellow-robed man. They had met by chance, and he had only asked for directions, showing that he had no malicious intentions. After getting the answer, Yang Kai naturally didn't have any suspicions. Who knew that the yellow-robed man would be so hateful? Taking out the monster beast's monster core and breaking off its 2 horns, Yang Kai turned around and returned to the original path with a cold expression. Climbing the towering snow-capped mountains along the way, walking in the white and boundless world, Yang Kai's mood was very bad. 3 days later, Yang Kai suddenly stopped. After listening for a while, he released his divine sense to investigate, and his expression suddenly became strange. More than 10 miles ahead, there were 2 familiar life auras. They were 2 of the 3 people he had met before, but at this moment, their mental state was somewhat unstable, as if they were being chased by something. They were panicking and fleeing in his direction. Following closely behind them, Yang Kai also noticed a strong life aura, which belonged to a 7th-order monster beast. What a small world! Yang Kai showed a strange smile, stopped in place, and waited quietly. Chapter 670. A series of beast roars rang out, shaking the earth and sending snow into the air. Ji Meng and Zhu Yingyu desperately fled, no longer as calm and collected as when Yang Kai first saw them. Both of their clothes were tattered and blood-stained, revealing large patches of their snow-white skin as they fled. The cold wind blew, causing Zhu Yingyu to shiver. "Hurry!" Ji Meng shouted as she fled. "Brother Qi," Zhu Yingyu said as she looked back, but after seeing the fierce monster beast, her beautiful face couldn't help paling, fear flashing across her eyes. "He's dead, don't look back." Ji Meng's expression was calm, but her heart was a mess. She had never expected to encounter an ice crystal wolf here. The 7th-order ice crystal wolf's body was harder than steel, so even the power of artifacts and martial skills could only leave some shallow marks on its body. Its speed was extremely fast, and its 4 claws and fangs were incredibly sharp. The 3 of them had been beaten by this ice crystal wolf in the blink of an eye, and Chi Chao's stomach had been torn open by the ice crystal wolf right in front of the 2 women's eyes, dying a miserable death. They had come here many times already, and each time they had been safe, but this time they had encountered an accident. Compared with Ji Meng's calmness, Zhu Yingyu was more flustered. Under the threat of death, she couldn't even display half of her immortal ascension boundary 7th-stage cultivation and could only flee for her life. If it weren't for Ji Meng releasing her artifact from time to time to slow down the ice crystal wolf, Zhu Yingyu would have already been overtaken. "Elder Sister Ji," Zhu Yingyu cried out. "If you don't want to die, don't cry," Ji Meng said solemnly. Zhu Yingyu nodded quickly. Amidst the snowstorm ahead, a figure stood tall. Ji Meng's beautiful eyes lit up and she quickly called out, "Who is this friend in front of us? Can you help us?" At this moment, she seemed to see hope. The other party was simply waiting here without fear. Obviously, they weren't afraid of the ice crystal wolf. Perhaps this person was a senior or fellow disciple of the spirit religion. If that was the case, she and Zhu Yingyu could be saved. As soon as her words fell, a burst of energy shot out from the front. It accurately struck her feet. Perceiving the other party's hostility, Ji Meng quickly pulled Zhu Yingyu to stop. "What a coincidence!" A slightly mocking voice came from the front. That person was slowly approaching. Ji Meng's brow furrowed. She stared forward. A moment later, Ji Meng was, of course, Yang Yang. Zhu Yingyu couldn't help covering her mouth and exclaiming, "You're fine." Of course, no, we didn't think so." Zhu Yingyu quickly waved her hand, her face filled with anxiety. Where is that man? Kai Yang turned his head and looked around, but didn't find Qichao's figure. Dead. Ji Meng shielded Zhu Yingyu. Meng of Qi Ying, of Meng of course, of Meng, of. I admit we were wrong before. Qichao shouldn't have pointed you in the wrong direction, and I shouldn't have not reminded you, but can we talk about this later? Ji Meng hurriedly said, if we don't leave now, it'll be too late. The ice crystal wolf chasing us is a 7th-order monster beast. None of us can resist it. Yang Kai frowned and shook his head. It's already too late. As he spoke, suddenly, a burst of whistling sounds rang out. A cold, murderous intent lingered in the air, causing Ji Meng's complexion to change greatly. Quickly turning around, she waved her 10 fingers and sent out a burst of ice. She faced the icicles coming from behind her. Asterisk hong hong hong. Asterisk countless icicles shattered, filling the air with white mist. Ji Meng let out a grunt as her tender shoulder was grazed by an icicle, causing blood to gush out. A huge figure suddenly landed in front of the trio, a ferocious-looking ice crystal wolf bearing its fangs and spitting out a putrid breath. Its pair of copper-bell-sized eyes stared towards Ji Meng and Zhu Yingyu as a string of saliva flowed out from the corners of its mouth. The moment the ice crystal wolf pounced, Yang Kai leapt up into the air and looked down, quickly discovering that this monster beast's body was also crystal clear, as if it was carved from jade. It was quite handsome and its fur was quite soft, and it exuded a violent aura that soared to the heavens. Ji Meng and Zhu Yingyu both paled. They knew that after being delayed by Yang Kai, they would no longer be able to escape the ice crystal wolf's attack range. Unwilling to sit still and wait for death, Ji Meng quickly took out an artifact covered in arcs of lightning, poured her yuan qi into it, and fiercely attacked the ice crystal wolf. At the same time, Zhu Yingyu also summoned her own artifact and waved her fan, sending out a wave of wind blades visible to the naked eye towards the ice crystal wolf. When the two of them joined forces, the power behind their attacks was quite good. However, for the ice crystal wolf, these attacks were tantamount to scratching an itch. A series of sparks burst out from its sturdy body, but the ice crystal wolf remained unscathed. Opening its mouth, it roared and sent out a barrage of icicles towards Ji Meng and Zhu Yingyu. The two women tumbled about awkwardly but were still inevitably injured, causing blood to gush out from their wounds, further stimulating the ice crystal wolf's ferocity. Before they could even stand up, the countless icicles once again intertwined, weaving into an airtight net of attacks, forcing the two women to not even raise their heads. Snow fluttered in the air as the scene became chaotic. Ji Meng suddenly looked up, her face filled with anxiety as she shouted towards Yang Kai, "Can you help us?" Yang Kai slowly shook his head, his expression indifferent. Although Qichao, who had deceived him before, had died under the ice crystal wolf's claws, the fact that these two women hadn't warned him at the time made Yang Kai very annoyed. From beginning to end, he had wasted 6 or 7 days of his time. Seeing Yang Kai refuse so decisively, Ji Meng immediately knew that he still held a grudge over what had happened before and quickly shouted, "We were wrong before. Qichao deceived you, so we are also responsible, but you can't just stand by and watch us die, right? Why should I save you? I almost died myself." Yang Kai's expression was cold as he looked on indifferently. The ice crystal wolf pounced forward and Ji Meng quickly dodged, but she was still struck in the abdomen by its claws, tearing off a large part of her clothes, revealing her flat belly and delicate navel. Bright red blood flowed from her abdomen as Ji Meng grit her teeth and endured the pain, using all her strength to fight back against the ice crystal wolf. Zhu Yingyu also hurriedly helped. With the two of them working together, they were unable to resist the ice crystal wolf's attacks, but they soon discovered that this 7th-order monster beast didn't seem to have any intention of immediately taking their lives. Instead, it was holding the mentality of a cat toying with a mouse, conserving its strength to attack, its eyes even revealing a playful look. A 7th-order monster beast already possessed a high level of intelligence. If there were enough resources and conditions, it could even transform into a human form and become a member of the monster race. After realizing this, Ji Meng once again called out to Yang Kai for help. We are disciples of Bright Thunder Spirit religion. If you can save us, after we return, we will definitely compensate you for your losses. Chi Chao is also dead. Shouldn't your anger have subsided? Bright Thunder Spirit religion? Yang Kai's expression changed, feeling like he had heard of this sect somewhere before, but after thinking about it carefully, he couldn't remember where. However, when Ji Meng saw his thoughtful expression, she thought he had some kind of relationship with her sect and asked expectantly, "Do you know someone from my spirit religion?" "Sorry, I don't." Yang Kai shook his head. "You bastard!" Ji Meng was furious, her heart filled with anxiety as she clenched her teeth and cursed, wishing she could rush up and kill Yang Kai. Originally, she had sympathized with this man who had been deceived, but now it seemed that this person was simply too hateful. He really should have died in this snow mountain range, out of sight, out of mind. "You're just watching us die, are you even a man?" Ji Meng shouted. Yang Kai calmly replied, "Originally, saving you wasn't a big deal, but what happened before made me feel very uncomfortable. If I'm not happy, don't think you'll be happy either. If you can survive, I'll be happy to show you whether I'm a man or not." As he spoke, the two women became more and more exhausted under the ice crystal wolf's attacks. Ji Meng grit her teeth. "What do you want? Tell me what you want and I'll do it." "I don't want anything." Yang Kai slowly shook his head, putting on an expression of watching a good show. Ji Meng coughed up blood in anger. Yang Kai's calm demeanor made her understand that this man had the strength to deal with this ice crystal wolf. At the very least, he should have been able to escape from this seventh-order monster beast. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for him to be so calm. However, he simply stood there and watched the show without making a move, leaving Ji Meng helpless. "Please, can't you?" Ji Meng grit her teeth, her heart filled with grievance and hatred, but she had no choice but to suppress it and softly beg. "This brother, I'm also begging you." Zhu Yingyu looked at Yang Kai pitifully, her eyes watery. Although she was terrified, she still persisted. Looking into her beautiful eyes, Yang Kai's expression changed slightly, the coldness on his face gradually converging. He suddenly discovered that this woman's eyes were somewhat similar to Xia Ning Chang's. Both of them were innocent and clear, without the slightest impurity. Yang Kai didn't say anything for a long time, nor did he show any intention to help. Ji Meng thought this man really had a heart of stone and was planning on watching from the sidelines. Feeling a chill in her heart, Ji Meng smiled bitterly and said, "Yu, don't beg him, I'm afraid we're really going to die here. Before we die, remember what he looks like. Even if we become ghosts, we must haunt him for the rest of his life." As she spoke, she shot a cold glare towards Yang Kai. Yang Kai couldn't help laughing. "You woman, you really have a heart as vicious as snakes and scorpions." "You're not any better," Ji Meng retorted. Yang Kai's expression became solemn as he asked, "With the strength you've shown, can you escape?" It wasn't that she was much stronger than the other woman, it was just that she hadn't wavered in the face of danger and had been able to display her full strength. Even if the ice crystal wolf was a seventh-order monster beast, if an immortal ascension boundary 8th stage cultivator like her wanted to escape, she could still hold on for some time. The other woman was different. She seemed to have really been frightened, her attacks were chaotic and her technique was clumsy. At a glance, it was obvious she had lived under protection all year round. Such a person's status was definitely not low. "If I run away, what will happen to Yingyu? I'm not as despicable as you." Ji Meng ground her teeth and shouted. "You're quite righteous." Yang Kai nodded gently, suddenly grinning. "I've changed my mind, I can save you." Chapter 671. Every injustice has its perpetrator, every debt has its debtor. The man who had deceived him before was already dead, so Yang Kai had no intention of finding trouble with these two women. What's more, Yang Kai also needed someone to inquire about information. Hearing Yang Kai say this, Ji Meng was overjoyed and exclaimed, "Really?" Yang Kai nodded, "But I have a condition." "What condition?" Ji Meng asked anxiously. Right now, the most important thing was to survive. She had already decided that no matter how excessive this man's request was, as long as it didn't hurt Zhu Yingyu, she would agree. Shouldn't you give yourself to me for saving your life? Yang Kai rubbed his chin and asked with an evil grin on his face. Ji Meng's face suddenly became gloomy. Although she had mentally prepared herself, she hadn't expected this man to actually make such a shameless request. Her heart filled with anger, but she didn't dare show it on her face, barely managing to resist the ice crystal wolf's attack as she shouted, "I don't care, but don't even think about touching Yingyu." Yang Kai looked at her with some surprise. He had only been joking and didn't really intend to do anything to these two women. From their second conversation, these two women weren't evil people, so it didn't matter if he saved them. Are you going to attack or not? If you don't, we'll die and you won't get anything. Ji Meng couldn't bear it any longer. While she was speaking, the ice crystal wolf's patience seemed to have been completely exhausted and its attacks became more and more ferocious. With her and Zhu Yingyu's means, it was impossible for them to resist. If Yang Kai continued to watch, they would definitely suffer. "It's coming." Yang Kai shook his head and slowly floated down from the sky. The huge monster beast pounced towards them from a distance, its fangs baring their fangs as a foul stench assaulted their nostrils. Zhu Yingyu screamed in fright, tears streaming down her face. Just as she didn't know what to do, her body suddenly felt light and in the next moment, she found herself being carried on someone's shoulder. The scenery around her quickly receded, causing her to close her eyes in fear. Ji Meng also suffered the same fate. She didn't even have time to react before she was grabbed by Yang Kai. Moving as fast as lightning, the repulsive ice crystal wolf chased after them, gradually increasing the distance between them. Ji Meng glanced over and urged, "Hurry up, it's about to catch up." Yang Kai snorted, "That's easy for you to say. This is already my fastest speed." Ji Meng didn't say anything. Looking at the ice crystal wolf getting further and further away, she couldn't help but sigh in relief. After a short while, the ice crystal wolf finally stopped chasing and stopped on the spot. It howled towards the sky, and its howl was filled with unwillingness and rage. Somewhere in the vast snowy mountains, Yang Kai stood in the same place, looking bored as he watched two women with disheveled clothes busying themselves. They seemed to have a lot of experience living in the snow. They quickly dug a hole in the snow. The inside was spacious, and the outside was sturdy. Not long after, a snow cave was formed. Ji Meng glanced back at Yang Kai vigilantly and weakly said, "We're going to change our clothes and apply some healing medicine. You stand here and don't come in. You're also not allowed to peek, otherwise I'll gouge out your eyes." "Hey, you're already considered one of my people now, what's wrong with me peeking?" Yang Kai teased. Ji Meng was extremely angry and gnashed her teeth for a moment before angrily saying, "I don't mind, but you can't." Saying so, the two women entered the snow cave one after the other. After a while, there was a rustling sound. Obviously they were taking off their bloody clothes. Yang Kai was stunned. He suddenly felt that the other party didn't seem to have any intention of going back on their words. She wouldn't really give herself to him, right? Yang Kai's face was filled with black lines. If he became entangled with her, he would be in big trouble. He was indeed despicable enough. How could he have proposed such a condition? After waiting for almost half an hour, Ji Meng's voice came from inside, "You can come in now." Yang Kai smiled and walked over to the snow cave before lowering his head and entering. The inside was indeed very spacious, and it didn't feel cold or damp at all. On the contrary, compared to the outside environment, this snow cave gave off a warm feeling. The two women had already changed into clean clothes, causing Yang Kai's eyes to light up. The first time they met, Chi Chao had stood in front of them, so Yang Kai had taken note of their appearances. The second time they met, they were in a sorry state, covered in blood, so he couldn't see their faces clearly. Looking at them now, the older one had a proud figure and a beautiful face, while the younger one was exquisite and unique, quite cute. However, at this moment, this great beauty was glaring at Yang Kai with a look of displeasure, as if she wanted to swallow him alive. Gritting her teeth, the little beauty shrunk to the side and stared timidly at Yang Kai, appearing very weak. "Hello, Yang Kai greeted them and sat down cross-legged across from them. I thought you were strong, but it turns out that in front of this ice crystal wolf, all you can do is flee, Ji Meng said sarcastically. Before, when she saw Yang Kai's calm expression, not showing the slightest fear in front of the seventh-order monster beast, even casually chatting with her, Ji Meng mistakenly thought he had some kind of extraordinary means, but in the end, she was greatly disappointed. This young man was just a bit faster. He didn't even have the courage to face this ice crystal wolf head-on. Even if you didn't flee, I still saved you. Yang Kai didn't care. In front of unfamiliar outsiders, he wasn't willing to show his strength. A seventh-order monster beast was equivalent to a transcendent. If he really killed it in front of these two women, it was very likely he would expose his true combat strength. Before determining their identities and temperaments, Yang Kai wouldn't take such a risk. No matter what, thank you for saving us, Ji Meng suddenly said, her expression sincere, reaching out and gently touching Zhu Yingyu. Zhu Yingyu was still in a state of shock, so her reaction was inevitably a bit exaggerated, but after realizing Ji Meng's intentions, she blushed and whispered, "Thank you." It was nothing, you're welcome. Yang Kai couldn't help feeling much better. Also, about what happened before, we want to apologize to you. Ji Meng bit her lip and said with a bitter expression, when Chi Chao lied to you, we wanted to warn you, but we didn't know your origins or your intentions for entering the Snow Mountain Range, nor did we know your strength, so, it doesn't matter, one must always be on guard against others, Yang Kai chuckled. That person is also dead, this matter ends here. Ji Meng gently nodded, suddenly finding that this young man was actually quite easy to talk to, not at all as cold-blooded and ruthless as he had shown himself to be before. We are disciples of Bright Thunder Spirit Religion. My name is Ji Meng and she is Zhu Yingyu. What about you? Ji Meng introduced herself before turning to Yang Kai and asking. Yang Kai reported his name. Which great force do you belong to? Ji Meng asked curiously. I don't belong to any sect, I'm a loner. That's impossible. Ji Meng was slightly surprised. Looking at your methods, it doesn't seem like you don't belong to any great force. Although you're not the most powerful person here, you're still quite good. Being able to rescue two people from the Ice Crystal Wolf's violent attack, Ji Meng felt that Chi Chao wouldn't be able to do such a thing. Cultivating alone with no one to guide him, how could he be so powerful? How did you get lost in the Snow Mountain Range? Where are you going? Ji Meng continued to ask, seemingly wanting to learn more about Yang Kai. I accidentally entered here and couldn't find the way out. As for where to go, I haven't decided yet, so I'll just go wherever there are people, Yang Kai said casually. Oh. Ji Meng nodded and explained, although this Snow Mountain Range is not the territory of any great force, because there are only 2 or 3 great forces in the vicinity, my Bright Thunder Spirit Religion is one of them. Basically, where we are now is under the jurisdiction of my Bright Thunder Spirit Religion. Many disciples will enter the Snow Mountain Range to look for opportunities, to see if they can find rare herbs or precious treasures. If you don't have a place to go, you might as well come with us. Yang Kai glanced at the two of them and knew that they were not inviting him because of their good impression of him, nor because they wanted to fulfill their previous agreement, but because they were both heavily injured and needed someone to protect them. All right. Yang Kai nodded. Thank you. Ji Meng's expression relaxed as a bright smile appeared on her face. For the next few days, the three of them traveled together. The Snow Mountain Range was long and the two women were injured, so their speed was naturally not fast. Moreover, while they were walking, they would occasionally look for herbs buried deep under the snow, delaying them a lot. Yang Kai wasn't in a hurry. Having someone lead the way was much faster than walking aimlessly. After 3 or 5 days, they were far away from the dangerous territory of the Snow Mountain Range. While walking, Yang Kai suddenly stopped and stared into the distance, a moment later turning to Ji Meng and saying, There seems to be some people from your Bright Thunder Spirit Religion coming over. Really? Ji Meng was pleasantly surprised, looking up but not seeing anything. And they're wearing the same golden robes you were wearing before, Yang Kai nodded. That means they're from my Bright Thunder Spirit Religion. Ji Meng clenched Zhu Yingyu's hand, her tense nerves finally relaxing. Zhu Yingyu also smiled happily. Yang Kai frowned and said, "If they find an outsider like me in the Snow Mountain Range, won't there be some trouble?" Ji Meng stared blankly for a moment before saying, "It doesn't matter, as long as you're with us, you'll be fine." "There's no need for that, we'll meet again." Saying so, Yang Kai didn't turn around and quickly flew off. Ji Meng didn't have time to stop him, and in the blink of an eye, Yang Kai had disappeared. Ah! Zhu Yingyu stared in the direction Yang Kai disappeared in amazement and muttered, "Why did he just leave like that?" Ji Meng stood in place with a complicated expression and thought for a moment before grit her teeth and muttering, "That bastard, it turns out he was lying to me, making me worry for so long." "What did he lie to you about?" "He said he wanted me to devote myself to him. I thought he was serious." Ji Meng's face flushed red. Now it seemed those words were just a joke. If Yang Kai really had such intentions, how could he have just walked away like that? "He's a good person," Zhu Yingyu grinned. "Is elder sister Ji tempted? It's not too late to chase after him." "What nonsense are you talking about?" Ji Meng curled her lips. However, this person really wasn't bad. After getting along with him for a few days, Ji Meng found that he wasn't as hateful as he appeared to be before. Chapter 672. At the edge of the Snow Mountain Range, Grand Boulder City. This was the only city within a few thousand-kilometer radius. Numerous cultivators came and went, and the various trading centers and shops here were extremely popular. Bright Thunder Spirit Religion wasn't the only sect near the Snow Mountain Range. There were also 2 or 3 other forces that had settled down here. Grand Boulder City, as a hub for these forces, naturally acted as a hub for exchanging materials between the various cultivators. A cultivator's cultivation wasn't something that could be done behind closed doors. Instead, they often relied on external items. Pills, artifacts, all of which belonged to the category of external items. These were indispensable aids to a cultivator in battle. Exchanging what one didn't need for what one did need, a transaction would naturally occur. After separating from Ji Meng and Zhu Yingyu, Yang Kai walked for 4 days before arriving at Grand Boulder City. Seeing the jostling crowd, Yang Kai showed a happy smile. During this time, he could be considered to have died of loneliness. He wasn't looking for someone to talk to, it was just that in this vast snow mountain range, there was no one for 10,000 kilometers, not even the slightest bit of vitality, making him feel a little depressed. At the city gate, there were several cultivators wearing guard uniforms, inspecting the pedestrians passing by. When it was Yang Kai's turn, Yang Kai learned from the people who had entered before and quietly slipped a crystal stone to the guard. The guard put away the crystal stone without leaving a trace and shot Yang Kai a meaningful glance before moving aside. "Many thanks." Yang Kai smiled and stepped into Grand Boulder City. Grand Boulder City didn't only have cultivators from the nearby forces, but also cultivators from all over the world. Because this place was next to the Snow Mountain Range, it produced some spirit grasses and spirit medicines that could only be grown under extremely cold conditions. Many cultivators had a need for these. Grand Boulder City didn't refuse anyone, but if one didn't want to be checked, they had to hand over crystal stones. This was one of Grand Boulder City's main ways of making money. The numerous shops in the city were Grand Boulder City's main source of income. The owners of these shops in Grand Boulder City were mostly disciples of several nearby forces, and very few outsiders were able to get involved in the business here. Yang Kai's footsteps were light and quick as he wandered around the shops, buying the herbs he needed. Although Yang Kai had given most of his crystal stones to the ancient demon clan before leaving the small sealed world, he still had a lot left. This amount of crystal stones was still quite a lot for a single person. Yang Kai was also paying attention to the materials needed to refine the saint-level pill. Before leaving, Li Rong had told him all this information, but what Yang Kai hadn't expected was that it was actually a saint-grade high-rank pill. Right now, he could barely refine a high-grade spirit-grade pill, but there was still a big gap between him and a high-grade saint-grade pill. Along the way, after sweeping through several dozen shops, Yang Kai's harvest was quite bountiful, a variety of herbs piled up inside the black book space. Arriving at a large shop, Yang Kai spent a large amount of crystal stones to exchange for many of the materials he needed. Little brother seems quite unfamiliar. Why are you buying so many herbs for alchemy? The shop owner, who was an Immortal Ascension 8th stage cultivator, looked at Yang Kai with interest, his white hair giving him a somewhat amiable appearance as he stroked his beard and asked, "Shopkeeper, are you here to do business or to inquire about information?" Yang Kai stared at him and asked with a smile. The other party's sudden question inevitably made Yang Kai a little vigilant, but in Grand Boulder City, public security was quite good and there wouldn't be any fights for no reason. Even if there was friction between cultivators, they would settle it outside the city. So, Yang Kai wasn't afraid. "I was just casually asking if little brother doesn't want to answer, there's no need to." The shop owner was stunned, seemingly aware of Yang Kai's vigilance and didn't want him to misunderstand, but if little brother is an alchemist, you can get a discount when you buy herbs. Discount? Why would I get a discount? Yang Kai asked curiously. He had never heard of any shop that would give alchemists a discount. Before the shop owner could answer, a nearby cultivator who was looking for herbs laughed. "Because this is a shop opened by the Alchemist Guild, as long as you are an alchemist, you can enjoy all kinds of preferential treatment, don't you know?" As he spoke, he walked over and handed the selected herbs to the shop owner and handed him a jade token. Yang Kai could clearly see that the jade token was engraved with the word pill. The shop owner glanced at the herbs, calculated the price, picked up the jade token, and poured yuan qi into it. The jade token instantly flashed and the shop owner nodded slightly. "Spirit grade low-rank alchemist, according to the rules of the guild, we can give you a 20% discount." The cultivator quickly handed over the crystal stones and the shop owner put them away, completing the transaction. After buying the herbs, the cultivator left without looking back. Yang Kai was dumbfounded. The Alchemist Guild is a force established by all the alchemists in the world. Only alchemists are eligible to join. As long as you are an alchemist of the guild, you will receive preferential treatment when you buy things from one of the guild's shops. Moreover, the guild's shops are all over the world, so you can enjoy the guild's care wherever you go, the shop owner explained with a smile. "Shopkeeper, how do you know I'm an alchemist?" Yang Kai asked curiously. The other party had obviously confirmed that he was an alchemist, so there was no point in pretending to be ignorant. Yang Kai was very curious. Where did this old shop owner, who was only an Immortal Ascension Boundary 8th stage cultivator, get this kind of insight? An alchemist is different from an ordinary cultivator. I have been guarding this shop for several decades now and have seen many alchemists come and go. Whether you are an alchemist or not, I can tell at a glance. The shop owner slowly shook his head, appearing somewhat enigmatic. "Although little brother is young, from the grade of herbs you have chosen, you should at least be a mysterious grade low-rank alchemist, right?" Yang Kai remained indifferent and didn't deny it. The old shop owner's eyes lit up. "The younger generation will surpass us in time. This old master has studied alchemy for many years but is still only a mysterious grade high-rank alchemist. I really envy you." Alchemy was also a matter of aptitude. There is a branch of the guild in Grand Boulder City. If you want to enjoy discounts when buying herbs in the future, you might as well go there and get a jade token. Not only will it help you save crystal stones, but it will also make it more convenient for you to travel the world. Alchemists are valued everywhere. Basically no one will find trouble with you, the old shop owner said with a smile. "Many thanks for the advice." Yang Kai cupped his fists. "You're welcome." Walking out of the shop, Yang Kai fell into contemplation. It was undeniable that the old shop owner's words had moved him. Being able to buy herbs at a discount was only one of the reasons. Although he had a lot of crystal stones on hand right now, these things would run out one day, so he had to save as much as he could. What Yang Kai cared about the most was that alchemists could be valued by any great force. Yang Kai's only wish after coming to Tongxian realm was to find Su Yan and his little senior sister. However, this world was so vast that it was impossible for him to find them with his own strength. Unlike back in the central capital, where he had gathered a large number of available helpers, he could find anyone he wanted and do whatever he wanted. Here, he could only rely on himself. When Shui Ling and Yun Xian invited him to join Water Spirit Temple or Bold Independent Union, Yang Kai didn't know alchemy yet, so he politely refused their kindness. because Yang Kai wanted to rely on his own strength to find Su Yan and the others. But now, it seemed that this idea was somewhat unrealistic. Could he use his status as an alchemist to seek refuge with some great force and have them help him find them? Inside an inn, Yang Kai thought about it for a long time before deciding to go to the Alchemist Guild and get a jade token. This jade token alone could save him a lot of trouble, so it was worth Yang Kai's attention. After asking around Grand Boulder City, Yang Kai soon found the location of the Alchemist Guild. In front of the magnificent Alchemist Guild, Yang Kai stood for a long time and shook his head. Although he had long heard that alchemists were a group of rich guys, Yang Kai hadn't expected them to be rich to this extent. The entire Alchemist Guild, from the outside, was very different from the other buildings in Grand Boulder City, exuding a rich aura. Outside the palace, birds and beasts carved from rare ores gave off faint energy fluctuations. Obviously, they were all engraved with powerful spirit arrays. If someone dared to have any ideas about this building, they would definitely suffer a big loss. As far as the eye could see, the interior of the association was also covered with thick red carpets. Everywhere was decorated with sparkling and translucent gemstones. Occasionally, alchemists would enter and leave, but all of them had arrogant and indifferent looks on their faces, as if they were some kind of big shot. A top-notch alchemist could be rich enough to rival an entire country and had a respected status. This was not a legend, it was a real thing. In the central capital, alchemists and artifact refiners were relatively noble existences, but in Tongxian realm, this inexplicable nobility seemed to be magnified several times. "Boy, what are you looking around for?" An angry shout suddenly rang out as a big bearded man glared at Yang Kai and shouted, "Which great force do you belong to? Don't you know where you are?" "Hello." Yang Kai's expression remained unchanged as he nodded slightly. "I want to receive an alchemist jade token." "Receive a jade token? You're an alchemist?" The big man was stunned when he heard this and swept his divine sense over Yang Kai. After a long time, he nodded slightly. Not bad, you have a yang attribute true qi in your body, so you should be able to perform alchemy. You're too young, haven't you only just started studying?" "Haha, I haven't been studying for long." Yang Kai smiled and nodded. "Good, come in." The big man tilted his head and gestured before walking inside. Yang Kai hurriedly followed. Along the way, Yang Kai was amazed. From the outside, the Alchemist Guild seemed quite amazing, but after entering, he realized that it was a place filled with riches. After learning that Yang Kai was also an alchemist, the big man slightly restrained his contemptuous attitude towards him, but he wasn't too easygoing either, shouting along the way, "Since you want to become a member of the Alchemist Guild, as long as you pass our test, you can get the jade token you want, but you must remember, even if you become an official alchemist, you are not allowed to do anything harmful to humanity. If you dare perform alchemy for a monster race member from the demon race, don't blame the guild for cleaning you up." "Ahem, of course," Yang Kai quickly said. Chapter 673. This big man had only said this casually, he hadn't expected him to be so direct. Yang Kai practiced alchemy in order to refine pills for the demon race. Moreover, he was from the ancient demon clan, a clan that had been forgotten by the world for thousands of years. He was a servant of the great demon god. Inside the Alchemist Guild, a light medicinal fragrance filled the air. From time to time, Yang Kai could feel the hot yuan qi flowing through the side rooms. Presumably, the alchemists were diligently performing alchemy. After following the big man to a relatively remote room, the big man left him behind and said, "Wait here, someone will come to greet you in a while." Yang Kai nodded slightly and casually found a chair to sit down on. The room wasn't big and there wasn't much furniture inside, so it was quite empty. Yang Kai waited for a full 2 hours, and just as he was about to become impatient, he heard the sound of hurried footsteps. Soon, the door was pushed open and a woman with an ugly expression walked in. Looking Yang Kai up and down, she asked, "Are you the one who wants to join the Alchemist Guild?" Yang Kai nodded, stood up and asked, "Can we begin the test now? How long have you been studying alchemy?" The woman frowned, seemingly a little unhappy as she asked coldly, Not long, I don't know exactly how long. It had only been a little over a year since Yang Kai started practicing alchemy, but if one counted the basic knowledge, it would be several years. From the time he obtained the true alchemic way until now, it had been at least 4 or 5 years, but he had only been intermittently prying into the mysteries of the true alchemic way. With this woman asking such a question, he didn't know how to answer. Deliberately mystifying. The woman coldly snorted, somewhat dissatisfied that Yang Kai didn't directly answer her question. Reaching into the universe bag at her waist, she hesitated for a moment before taking out a herb and handing it to Yang Kai. This is a heaven-grade low-rank cold star grass. Condense it into a medicinal liquid for me to see. Yang Kai reached out and took it, staring at her in amazement. Condense it just like that? The woman sneered. If you can't even do this, then you don't need to join the association. Do you think the association will accept just anyone? Only heaven-grade alchemists and above were qualified to have their own jade tokens. Hurry up, I'm in a hurry. As he spoke, he muttered, Master is really too much. Such a young brat, can't he just chase him out? Wasting my precious time. When Yang Kai heard this, he couldn't help but laugh. He also understood why this woman had an unhappy expression on her face. It turned out that his arrival had delayed her refining time. When an alchemist was concocting pills, it was a taboo to be disturbed, so Yang Kai could understand why the woman was unhappy. However, her words and demeanor clearly showed that she was looking down on him, which made Yang Kai feel a little helpless. She probably thought that he had really just started learning alchemy. Thinking so, Yang Kai began circulating his yuan qi, wrapping it around the cold star grass in his hand and injecting his yuan qi into the herb. Soon, a faint fragrance filled the air, and the woman finally withdrew her look of contempt and focused on the movements of Yang Kai's hands. The cold star grass seemed to have been melted, completely turning into a liquid. Under the influence of the yuan qi, it floated above Yang Kai's palm, a wisp of impurities escaping and evaporating. As time passed, a heaven-grade low-rank cold star grass was quickly condensed into a medicinal liquid, a vibrant emerald green color. With Yang Kai's skill and technique, it was easy for him to condense heaven-grade herbs. Even without a pill furnace or spirit array, he could still get rid of the impurities. In just a few breaths of time, the medicinal liquid had taken shape. The woman released her divine sense and carefully examined it, a trace of surprise finally appearing on her pretty face as she looked at Yang Kai in astonishment. Is this enough? Yang Kai asked. He could still condense the medicinal liquid to a higher level, but he didn't do so. This level should be enough to meet the woman's requirements. Let me ask you, what grade of pill can you refine? The woman looked at Yang Kai with a serious face. Only now did she discover that she seemed to have underestimated this young boy's means and ability. Spirit grade. What? The woman's face suddenly changed as she looked at Yang Kai in disbelief. Spirit grade low rank. Sometimes you may fail. Yang Kai added he didn't dare to say his ability was too high, so as not to attract the attention of others, but spirit grade low rank seemed to be somewhat unacceptable to this woman. Impossible, you are at most 20 years old. How can you refine a spirit-grade pill? I can refine it for you to see. Yang Kai shrugged his shoulders. The woman stared at him deeply, as if she wanted to see if he was boasting. After a while, she said seriously, Come with me. If you really have this ability, then it's not within the scope of my assessment. She was just a mysterious grade top-rank alchemist. How could she take the spirit-grade assessment? In another room, the burly man Yang Kai had seen before was studying an ancient alchemy book in his hand with a worried look on his face. Facing a profound spirit array, he seemed to be unable to understand it and was clearly distressed. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door and the big man looked up and asked, What's the matter? Master, the woman called out softly, it's about the young man who just wanted to join the association. Did he pass the test? The big man asked. If he didn't, then don't bother me, go refine your own alchemy. The woman gritted her teeth and suddenly kicked open the door. Yang Kai was stunned. The woman stormed into the room, causing the big bearded man to slap the table angrily. How dare you ignore your master's orders? Do you still see me as your master in your eyes? The woman snorted and put her hands on her hips, a look of annoyance on her face as she said, "Master, didn't you say that guy had just started learning alchemy?" "Yes, what's the problem? Then why can he refine a spirit-grade pill? I even used a heaven-grade low-rank cold star grass to test him. It's so embarrassing." The big man was stunned. He can refine a spirit-grade pill? Impossible, you little girl are lying to me again. I've brought him here, whether he has this ability or not, you can verify it yourself. The woman beckoned to the outside and Yang Kai braced himself and walked in. The big man stared at Yang Kai with a dignified look and shouted, "You think you can refine a spirit-grade pill?" Yang Kai nodded solemnly. The big man's expression suddenly became serious as he gloomily said, "Boy, you need to know that this is the Alchemist Guild. No matter which force you come from, if you dare to talk nonsense here, you won't leave here alive." Yang Kai rubbed his forehead, feeling a headache coming on. He just wanted to get a jade token. He didn't expect there would be so many twists and turns. "Forget it, I won't get a jade token. I'm sorry for disturbing you, goodbye." "You dare!" The big man roared, his voice like a bell as he sneered, "Do you think the Alchemist Guild is a place where you can come and go as you please? It's useless to feel guilty. I will prepare the materials for you and see how you can refine a spirit-grade pill. If you can't satisfy me, I also want to know if you really have this ability." The woman also glanced sideways at Yang Kai. Yang Kai took a deep breath, feeling extremely helpless. "Mina, take out your spirit-grade materials." The big man stared at Yang Kai and ordered the woman. The woman nodded gently and rummaged around in her universe bag. Soon, a pile of spirit-grade materials appeared on the table in the room. The big man stretched out his hand again and a head-sized furnace appeared in his hand. Looking at Yang Kai, he said, "This is my own furnace. I collected the materials for 8 years and asked a saint-grade artifact refiner to refine it. It can greatly increase the chances of successfully refining a pill. Don't say I didn't take care of you. If you can't refine a spirit-grade pill with this furnace, you can just wait for your head to roll." Saying so, he threw the furnace over. Yang Kai caught it, weighed it in his hand, and nodded with satisfaction. The quality of this furnace was very good, far superior to ordinary furnaces, and the spirit array engraved inside was also used to increase the chances of successfully refining a pill, but Yang Kai was keenly aware that the spirit array inside was incomplete and couldn't display its full potential. "There are 5 sets of spirit-grade materials here. If you can refine 3 sets, I'll consider you passed the test. If you can't, The big man sneered and said, "You can start, I'll be watching you, don't try to play any tricks." Now that things had come to this point, Yang Kai couldn't back down. Placing the furnace on the table, he carefully examined the 5 sets of materials. A moment later, his brow wrinkled and he changed the positions of several of the herbs. The large man and the woman looked at him suspiciously. They didn't know why he looked so confident. Moreover, the 5 sets of ingredients were the best, so how could he casually change the positions of several of them? The 2 of them didn't say anything and just watched quietly. A moment later, Yang Kai began to move, skillfully adding the herbs into the furnace one by one. The yuan qi was poured into the furnace and condensed into a medicinal liquid. Whether it was the heat or the timing, everything was controlled perfectly. The big man and the woman's eyes lit up. Just from this action alone, they realized that this young man seemed to have some skill and wasn't just boasting. His technique and self-confidence obviously came from his usual practice. As the herbs were added into the furnace, under Yang Kai's control, the room gradually filled with a medicinal fragrance. The big man and the woman stared at Yang Kai without blinking, their expressions gradually becoming dignified, no longer showing any contempt. After the time it would take to burn a stick of incense, Yang Kai reached out and patted the pill furnace, causing a round golden pill to fly out. The big man's eyes were sharp and his hands were quick, reaching out and sucking this pill into his palm. Carefully perceiving it, his eyes widened as he muttered, "It really is a spirit-grade pill. Is this little brat really so powerful?" Mina was also dumbfounded. She hadn't expected that Yang Kai could really refine a spirit-grade pill. Although it was only a spirit-grade low-rank pill, it was something she couldn't do herself. The medicinal properties are restrained, the herbs aren't wasted at all, just a little bit more and it would have formed pill veins. Amazing, the big man sighed as if it was a bit regretful. Chapter 674. Once a spirit-grade high-rank alchemist formed pill veins, the value of a spirit-grade high-rank alchemist would double. Even with Big Han's skills, he could only occasionally refine 1 or 2 pills with pill veins, and that was only if his luck was extremely good and he was in peak condition. As for the legendary pill clouds, even he had never seen one before. Holding this spirit pill, the big bearded man was speechless for a long time. An hour later, Yang Kai finished his alchemy. 5 sets of materials, a total of 4 spirit pills had been refined, but the last set of materials had failed. This was something that Yang Kai had done on purpose. At this moment, whether it was the big man or the young woman, both of them were staring at Yang Kai dumbfoundedly, completely dumbfounded. Master, is this guy some kind of beauty-preserving technique? Otherwise, how could I look only 20 years old? No, this should be his real age. Amazing, how could he be so amazing? Saying so, he glanced at the young woman with a look of disappointment. Master, can you not look at me like that? I've already tried my best, Mina said, feeling very wronged. Her alchemy aptitude was also quite outstanding, and she was a very famous existence within a few thousand kilometers. Several nearby great forces were trying to win her over as an honored guest. Because of this aptitude, Mina usually thought highly of herself, but in front of these 4 spirit pills, her pride had been shattered. The master and disciple pair whispered to each other for a while, but Yang Kai didn't deliberately eavesdrop. After waiting for a while, he asked, "Did I pass the test?" The big man was surprised when he heard this, but he soon chuckled and nodded. "Yes, you definitely passed." "Then my jade token? Don't worry, the jade token will definitely be given to you, but before that, you need to see someone." "Wait, I'll call him over." Saying so, the big man rushed out. Suddenly, only Yang Kai and the young woman were left in the room. Yang Kai was speechless. "You really make people look at you in a new light." The woman let out a heartfelt sigh of admiration and generously extended her hand, no longer displaying her previous contempt and casualness as she solemnly said, "Let me introduce myself again. My name is Mina, a mysterious grade top-rank alchemist and a member of this alchemist branch." Yang Kai. Yang Kai chuckled and gently shook her hand. "Where did you come from?" Mina asked curiously. "To the west." Mina looked at him and pursed her lips into a smile. "Forget it, I won't ask any more. Look at how vigilant you are." To the west was a vast snowy mountain. When Yang Kai said that he came from there, it was obviously a little perfunctory. "All right, why did you change the configuration of the 5 sets of materials just now? Isn't that your test?" Yang Kai was stunned. Mina slowly shook her head. "That was the configuration I thought was the best, but after you changed it, it seems like it's easier to refine it. Who taught you to do that?" "Intuition." Yang Kai felt a little guilty. He didn't think too much about it just now and thought that the other party had deliberately put in the wrong herbs to test his skills, but it turned out that wasn't the case. "Why did you do that?" "The pill recipe my master taught me is not like this. Is there something wrong with master's pill recipe?" Mina frowned. Yang Kai thought about it for a moment and didn't try to hide it, carefully explaining it to her. Mina's eyes lit up as she listened and nodded, suddenly feeling like she had learned a lot. While the two of them were discussing the accuracy and rigor of the pill recipe inside the room, outside, the big man and the other man stopped to listen, and the more they listened, the more surprised they became. Because even they hadn't thought of changing the pill recipe, but after changing it, they found that it was much better than the original one. At the very least, if they used Yang Kai's method to refine it, they could avoid many unnecessary failures, increase the chances of successfully refining a pill, and fully display the medicinal efficacies of the herbs. "Where did you find this little brat?" the man asked the big bearded man. "He delivered himself to us," the big man shrugged. "Did you pick up a treasure?" The other man didn't deny it, simply pushing the door open and walking in. Hearing the sound of the door opening, Kai Yang quickly turned his head to look, only to see the bearded big man and another old man with a transcendent aura walk in together. Mi Na quickly introduced them to Yang Kai. This is Old Man Du. Old Man Du is the owner of this place, a saint-grade low-rank alchemist. Yang Kai couldn't help feeling a sense of respect and quickly bowed. Du Wan smiled and nodded. Little friend doesn't need to be so polite. We will all be family in the future. This is my master, a spirit-grade high-rank alchemist. Yi Xiong grinned at Yang Kai. Sit down, Old Man Du gestured. After everyone was seated, Mi Na brought out a few cups of fragrant tea from somewhere and served them. Old Man Du took a sip before smiling. I understand little friend's purpose for coming here. Being able to refine a spirit-grade pill, you are indeed qualified to have your own jade token. This old master will present the jade token that represents his status as an alchemist to you later. Many thanks, Yang Kai nodded. Can this old master ask, who is little friend's master? Asking so, Du Wan stared at Yang Kai with a burning gaze. After listening to Yi Xiong's report, Du Wan only faintly felt that this young man wasn't simple, but after listening to many of his unique insights at the entrance, Du Wan immediately realized that Yang Kai was extraordinary. Even he didn't understand the profound meaning behind those insights, so how could a little brat comprehend them? The only possibility was that someone was guiding him from behind. Du Wan really wanted to know which alchemist could teach such a disciple. At such a young age, his cultivation had already reached the peak immortal ascension boundary, and he was even a spirit-grade alchemist. What kind of earth-shaking master was this? Although Old Man Du was a saint-grade alchemist and had a highly respected status, there were still some alchemists above him, not to mention those old monsters who lived in seclusion in the mountains and forests all year round. These old monsters might not appear for dozens or hundreds of years, but each one of them was a man with heaven-defying means and divine technique, making it impossible for others to guess. Moreover, these old monsters with astonishing cultivations were very protective of their own. It was very likely that some of their descendants would come out of their seclusion and enter the world to gain experience. Their descendants would often be able to blossom with dazzling brilliance in just a few short years, and their names would soon spread throughout the continent. This young man named Yang Kai in front of him was very suspicious. He was a spirit-grade alchemist, but his name wasn't recorded in the Alchemist Guild's records, and he didn't even have a jade token. This was clearly because he had just come out of seclusion not too long ago. Old Man Du looked at Yang Kai and seemed to see a hidden behemoth behind him. He couldn't help but be cautious, so naturally he wanted to figure out Yang Kai's true identity. Yi Xiong and Mi Na also looked at him with shining eyes, obviously very interested in this topic. Master? Yang Kai smiled bitterly and shook his head. I don't have a master, and no one has taught me. No master ka. Old Man Du smiled lightly, not taking this matter seriously. It would be strange if this young man could so easily dig up the background behind him. Yang Kai saying this only further confirmed Old Man Du's guess that his background was extraordinary. However, such a way of saying that he was hiding 300 taels of silver here was too childish. Young people really didn't know how to hide themselves. This kind of mysterious descendant, when traveling the world, would never advertise their master or sect. However, if one could establish a good relationship with such a person, one might be able to establish a connection with their master and obtain huge benefits. 100 years ago, there was a not-so-strong force that had befriended such a descendant who had come out for life experience. 10 years later, this force became enemies with another great force and suffered heavy casualties. However, overnight, this enemy force was completely annihilated and disappeared from Tongxian realm. Old Man Du was a saint-grade alchemist, so no one would come looking for trouble with him, let alone make enemies. Naturally, he had no intention of borrowing the power of others. What he valued was the alchemy methods of the person who had taught Yang Kai. Being able to teach Yang Kai, that person must be a top alchemist. Old Man Du had been stuck at the bottleneck of saint-grade low rank for many years now. If he could obtain pointers from such a powerful master, he may be able to break through to saint-grade mid-rank in one fell swoop. Then where does little friend plan to settle down? Old Man Du asked kindly. I don't know, I'll stay in Grand Boulder City for a while. Yang Kai shook his head. I just came out from a very remote place not long ago and am unfamiliar with this world. Speaking of which, I'm not afraid old man Du will laugh at me, but I haven't even heard of many of the great forces here. This is the first time I've heard of the Alchemist Guild. Du Wan's seemingly cloudy eyes couldn't help but light up as he smiled and nodded. Good, good, good. As long as little friend is still in Grand Boulder City, you can come to this old master and ask. If there's anything you don't understand, this old master can answer it for you. Yang Kai's expression became strange, wondering why this saint-grade alchemist was treating him so well. Old man Du, can he live in the Alchemist Guild? Mi Na suddenly proposed. Old man Du smiled and said, that depends on little friend's intentions. I can live here? Yang Kai was stunned. Mi Na explained, as long as you are an alchemist, you can live here. In the entire Alchemist Guild, there are basically only the three of us who live here, the others have all taken refuge in the nearby great forces. Occasionally, some alchemists from other places will come here to rest. So, this place is relatively quiet. If you don't have anywhere to go, you can live here. And living here, we can compare notes on alchemy. It's good for everyone, what do you think? Mina obviously hoped that Yang Kai would stay. Just now, after talking with him for a while, she had benefited a lot, so naturally she wanted to communicate more with Yang Kai. Then I'll have to trouble you. Since Mina was looking at him expectantly, Yang Kai was too embarrassed to refuse. Moreover, this old man Du and Yi Xiong didn't have the slightest malicious intent. Little friend is too polite, old man Du smiled. But I shouldn't stay here for long. Yang Kai added, everything will be as little friend wishes. Saying so, Du Wan took out a jade token and pushed it towards Yang Kai. This is my Alchemist Guild's identity token. With this thing, you can enjoy preferential treatment in any shop opened by the Alchemist Guild. If you encounter any danger, just take out this jade token and under normal circumstances, you'll be safe. Many thanks, old man Du. Yang Kai took the jade token and poured his true qi into it, a look of joy quickly filling his face. There was a mysterious energy hidden inside this jade token that would allow anyone who sensed it to easily figure out what grade of alchemist the owner of this jade token was. Chapter 675. 500 kilometers away from Boulder City, there was a place with beautiful scenery. Although this place was also on the edge of the snowy mountains, it was full of birds and fragrant flowers all year round. The temperature was pleasant. Houses were located in a huge valley, and from time to time, some cultivator with high cultivation would come in and out. This place was the foundation of a large force. At this moment, in a secret room, an old man who had been meditating all year round suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were shining brightly, and a look of suspicion appeared on his face. He raised his head and stared in the direction of Grand Boulder City. At this moment, he felt an obscure energy fluctuation coming from the other side. This energy fluctuation gave him a sense of déjà vu. After thinking for a moment, the old man made several mysterious hand seals and a beam of energy shot out. A moment later, the old man stretched out his hand and drew a circle in front of him. Suddenly, ripples appeared in the void, and a vague figure emerged from those ripples. The old man stared blankly, the expression on his face becoming more and more strange and bewildered. He silently memorized the general characteristics of this figure. Just as he was about to carefully observe it, the ripples in front of him suddenly spread more frequently. The figure coldly turned his head and looked over with a vigilant and suspicious expression. Such strong vigilance! The old man was shocked. He could sense that at this age the other person's cultivation was definitely not too high. He had used the great divine technique to spy on him from several hundred kilometers away, but he had been discovered. The next moment, the ripples spread and the figure disappeared. Interesting. The old man smiled faintly and called out, Song Yen. The door was pushed open. A man with a restrained aura walked in and respectfully asked, Grandmaster, what are your orders? Go to Boulder City. Find this person for me. The old man stretched out his hand and pointed, and a beam of energy rushed into the Tsongyen's mind. The Tsongyen immediately saw the vague figure. The Xianxia nodded solemnly. Well, be polite to him. The old man was still worried. The Xianxia's expression was strange, but he did not ask anything. He quickly left the secret room and prepared to go to Boulder City. Alchemist Association. Mina, who was asking Yang Kai about the Tao of alchemy, stared at Yang Kai in a daze. What's wrong with you? Yang Kai frowned as he stared at a certain spot in the void. At that moment, he actually had the illusion that he was being spied on and couldn't help but shudder. But when he carefully investigated, he found nothing. Nothing. Yang Kai shook his head. He was also puzzled. With his divine sense cultivation, even if he was being probed by a transcendent, he would still be able to clearly detect it. Unless it was a Saint Realm master, but how could such a master possibly target him? After arriving in Tong Xian Realm, Yang Kai had not made any enemies. The only succubus demon had been killed by him. Oh! Mina didn't ask any more questions and instead continued to consult Yang Kai on the details of alchemy. Yang Kai didn't hold back and answered her questions and doubts as best as he could. Of course, when it came to the secrets of the true alchemic way, it was a secret. Of course, he wouldn't reveal them. The true alchemic way was most likely something left behind by the great demon god. If this kind of information were to be revealed, it would only do him more harm than good. After living in the Alchemist Guild for more than half a month, whether it was Old Man Du, Yi Xiong, or Mina, all of them treated him like family, which made the wandering Yang Kai feel some warmth in his heart. However, Yang Kai found that in addition to Mina, Old Man Du and Yi Xiong were sometimes too kind to him, not showing the proper attitude of an elder towards a junior, which made him feel somewhat uncomfortable. These days, Yang Kai had been performing alchemy all this time, so the materials he had purchased were rapidly being consumed. Before, in Demon God Citadel, when Li Rong and the others provided him with herbs, Yang Kai didn't think much of it, but now that he was preparing materials for alchemy, he found that the consumption was simply too great. Even if he had a lot of crystal stones on hand, it wouldn't be long before he ran out. However, he had to constantly improve his grade and skills through alchemy. Mina, how can you guarantee you have enough materials for alchemy? Who's as abnormal as you? Mina rolled her eyes. Your alchemy speed is too fast. My master needs half a day to refine a single spirit pill. He can only refine 2 a day at most. Yang Kai was stunned. However, we can sell the pills we refine and exchange them for jingsher. Then we can buy materials to continue refining. Yang Kai couldn't help but light up. He had been performing alchemy all this time, completely forgetting that he could sell the pills he refined. Because until now, Yang Kai had never worried about making money, nor did he think about how to make money. Most of the pills he had were spirit-grade pills, and whether it was quality or grade, they were quite suitable for most cultivators, so he definitely wouldn't have to worry about selling them. Under Mina's lead, Yang Kai and her came to the shop opened by the Alchemist Guild. The old shop owner who had guided Yang Kai before gave him a very good price, not only getting back all the crystal stones he had spent, but also making a big profit. After purchasing enough materials, Yang Kai once again returned to the Alchemist Guild. Time flew by, and soon, a month had passed. After determining that the people in the Alchemist Guild had no malicious intentions towards him, Yang Kai decided to talk to Old Man Du. Yang Kai didn't plan to stay in the Alchemist Guild for the rest of his life. He had another purpose for entering the Alchemist Guild, which was to use his respected status as an alchemist to achieve his goal of finding Su Yen and his little senior sister. Is little friend looking for someone? Old Man Du was surprised after hearing Yang Kai's words. My 2 senior sisters and 1 martial uncle. Yang Kai nodded. He didn't dare reveal the existence of the old demon, but since Meng Wuya was Xia Ningchang's master, he could be considered his martial uncle. Old Man Du's expression shook, thinking to himself that this was truly incredible. The behemoth behind Yang Kai suddenly had 3 successors, and obviously the identities of the other 2 women were also not trivial. Actually having a senior accompanying them, it was very likely that they were even more powerful than Yang Kai. If little friend is looking for someone, the guild can provide some help. This old master will send a letter to the other branches to pay attention. If there is any news, I will inform little friend as soon as possible. However, The guild has many trivial matters to attend to, so this old master can only offer his humble assistance. If little friend really wants to find them, he will have to find his own way. Many thanks, senior, this is already a great help. Yang Kai said seriously. Old man Du hesitated for a moment before saying, if this is little friend's wish, this old master suggests little friend rely on the nearby forces and ask them for help. With your status as a spirit-grade low-rank alchemist, I don't think any force will refuse you. No matter where you go, they will treat you as an honored guest. I have such an idea, but I am not familiar with the nearby forces, so I don't know which one to choose. I hope Senior can give me some pointers. He really wasn't familiar with the nearby forces, so if he joined a force with bad intentions, it would be difficult for him to escape. If not for being forced into such a situation, Yang Kai wouldn't have had such an idea. So that's how it is. Old man Du nodded slightly. Of the nearby forces, Bright Thunder Spirit Religion, Soaring Heaven Sect, Ancient Moon Cave Heaven, and Luosheng Sect can be considered the best. If you want to choose from these 4 forces. However, don't go to Luosheng Sect, those people aren't easy to get along with. As for the remaining 3, and this old master has some friendship with these forces, so if I really want to choose one, it will be a bit difficult. Can I go to any of these 3 forces? Yang Kai's eyes lit up. The reputation of these 3 forces is indeed quite good. Why don't you allow this old master to consider it carefully and give you an answer in a few days? Then I'll have to trouble old man Du. Little friend is too polite. The next few days passed uneventfully. Yang Kai continued to perform alchemy every day while Mi Na often came to ask him for advice. One day, when old man Du suddenly summoned him, Yang Kai put down what he was doing and came to old man Du's room. Yang Kai thought old man Du had made a decision and was going to recommend him to a certain force, but after opening the door, Yang Kai found that there was actually an unfamiliar face in the room. This man's aura was restrained and his eyes were shining brightly. As soon as Yang Kai entered the room, this man stared at him with great interest. A transcendent realm master. Yang Kai's heart clenched. Being able to give him such pressure, this man was at least a second-order transcendent. Old man Du, Yang Kai greeted. Little friend, please sit, old man Du smiled. Is this the new alchemist in the association? The man looked at Yang Kai with interest and asked kindly. He's a spirit-grade alchemist with excellent aptitude, old man Du said seriously. Spirit grade? The man's expression changed as he stared at Yang Kai in disbelief. This old master won't lie. I believe old man Du, the man nodded solemnly. Little friend, allow me to introduce you. This is Elder Duan Hai of Bright Thunder Spirit Religion. Yang Kai nodded slightly to him in greeting. This old master has some friendship with Elder Duan. I don't know where Elder Duan heard the news that you have entered the association, but after learning that you have entered the association, he came here today to ask you to serve as an honored guest in Bright Thunder Spirit Religion. Duan Hai smiled and said, It's not that I've been monitoring your alchemist guild, it's just that my junior brother came to Grand Boulder City one day to handle some business and happened to see me Na and this friend enter together. Junior brother knew that I have some friendship with old man Du, so he asked me to shamelessly come here and ask, otherwise, someone else might beat me to it. Old man Du laughed dumbly. Since Yang Kai entered the alchemist guild, he had only gone out once, but he had not expected to be discovered by someone with good intentions. This could only be said to be a coincidence. I wonder if this friend is willing to enter my spirit religion? Duan Hai looked at Yang Kai expectantly. A spirit-grade alchemist was already a very good rank, but what was even more valuable was that this person was very young and obviously had extraordinary aptitude. If he could make him develop a sense of dependence and belonging to the spirit religion, in time, he would surely be able to become a saint-grade alchemist. Such a level of alchemist had never appeared in Bright Thunder's spirit religion before. This was a long-term investment. Duan Hai had the vision and the courage to do so. Chapter 676. Today, if this friend is willing to live in my spirit religion and serve as an honored guest, my spirit religion is willing to provide very generous treatment, Duan Hai said sincerely. Duan Hai said sincerely. Although he was a transcendent and was at least a generation older than Yang Kai in terms of seniority, he still cordially called him friend. Brother Duan, might as well tell me what kind of treatment you would like to offer first. Old man Du knew that Yang Kai didn't know anything about this, so he took the initiative to inquire about Yang Kai. Duan Hai smiled wryly and shook his head. Old man Du, since he is one of your people, how can I squeeze him dry? With a serious expression, he turned to Yang Kai and said, the spirit religion will provide you with herbs, and you can take 20% of the value of any pill you refine as a reward. In other words, if you refine a spirit pill worth 100 crystal stones, the spirit religion will give you 20 crystal stones. Old man Du's expression changed and he nodded slightly. Yang Kai observed Old man Du's expression and knew that this treatment would definitely not be bad. This is just the most basic condition. The spirit religion will provide you with the most comfortable alchemy environment and prioritize meeting your needs. As long as it doesn't harm the interests of my spirit religion, anything can be agreed to. What do you think? After Duan Hai finished speaking, he looked at Yang Kai expectantly, waiting for his reply. To be honest, the conditions he proposed were already very generous. The 20% of benefits was not something an ordinary alchemist could obtain. Even if a spirit-grade top-rank alchemist was hired as an honored guest, they generally wouldn't be able to obtain such a percentage. If Yang Kai had any other requests, he could discuss them with him. Yang Kai frowned slightly, thought for a while, then looked at Old Man Du and asked, what does Senior think? The conditions are good, Old Man Du said honestly, but whether or not you want to go, it all depends on little friend's wishes. Since you are Old Man Du's friend, there should be no problem, Yang Kai grinned. In any case, he had already planned to find a force to rely on for the time being, so with Old Man Du's protection, he felt a lot more relieved. Duan Hai was overjoyed when he heard this and a smile appeared on his face. Friend really is easy to talk to. But the conditions need to change. Yang Kai changed the subject. I would like to hear the details, Duan Hai said solemnly. 20% of the profits? I don't want it, I only want 10%. Kai Yang raised a finger. Duan Hai and Old Man Du were both stunned, but they didn't interrupt and simply waited for him to continue. Since Kai Yang had taken the initiative to give up the benefits he deserved, it was obvious that he had other intentions. I hope you to help me of the spirit religion, sect, of course. Yang Kai didn't, what is it? Duan Hai asked. When the time comes, I will tell you. Moreover, I won't stay in Bright Thunder Spirit religion forever. I hope that when I leave, I won't encounter any obstacles. That's easy. Duan Hai quickly nodded. My Bright Thunder Spirit religion has more than one honored guest. Whether these honored guests stay or leave is entirely up to them. The spirit religion will never force them. No problem. Kai Yang smiled. Duan Hai was overjoyed. So it's settled then? Yang Kai nodded solemnly. Old Man Du smiled and said, congratulations, Brother Duan. In fact, this old master really doesn't want little friend to leave, but since little friend has his own matters to attend to, this old master can only reluctantly send him off. Duan Hai said meaningfully, how about Old Man Du come to my spirit religion as an honored guest? Isn't your appetite a bit too big? Old Man Du laughed dumbly. You actually want to hire this old master? A saint-grade alchemist. Which great force wouldn't want one? I'm afraid you won't be able to afford it, Old Man Du said with a smile. Duan Hai's expression became bitter as he nodded. That's true. Shaking his head in distress, he turned to Yang Kai and asked, when is it convenient for friend to leave? I can leave at any time. How about now? Duan Hai asked with an impatient look. Yang Kai looked at him in amusement and nodded slightly. There's no time to lose, let's go, Duan Hai said and stood up. Allow me to say goodbye to a friend first. Yang Kai said before getting up and walking out the door to find Mina. These days, they had been getting along quite well, so naturally, he wanted to inform her before leaving, otherwise, it would be rude. Inside the room, Duan Hai and Old Man Du sat quietly. Suddenly, Old Man Du said in a low voice, Duan Hai, don't say this old master didn't warn you. This little friend is not an ordinary person. Once he arrives at your Thunderlight sect, don't neglect him. Duan Hai was stunned and quickly asked, "What does old man do mean?" Duan slowly shook his head and no longer said anything. Duan Hai was confused. A moment later, Yang Kai returned and said goodbye to Mina. There was nothing he needed to pack up, so Duan Hai led him out of the Alchemist Guild. Mina waved goodbye to Yang Kai with a reluctant look on her face. During the time Yang Kai had been with her, her alchemy skills had improved by leaps and bounds, much faster than her own master had taught her, so naturally she was reluctant to part with him. Duan Hai waved his hand and wrapped Yang Kai in pure Yuan Qi before the two of them quickly rose into the air and flew out of Grand Boulder City. Along the way, Duan Hai's attitude towards Yang Kai was very amiable, overlooking the city below and introducing him to Bright Thunder Spirit Religion's foundation and riches. In order to quickly make Yang Kai feel a sense of belonging, Duan Hai naturally spared no effort to praise Bright Thunder Spirit Religion. From his words, Yang Kai also learned a little about this force. Near the Snow Mountain Range, there were no less than 1,000 large and small peaks, and Bright Thunder Spirit Religion occupied a portion of them. After an hour or so, the two of them arrived at Bright Thunder Spirit Religion's territory. Landing on one of the mountain peaks, Yang Kai noticed that the air here was somewhat cold, but overall, it was lush green and filled with rich world energy. Halfway up the mountain, many herbs were planted and their fragrance filled the air. At the top of the mountain, there were a few simple houses. Duan Hai said, "This used to be the residence of an honored alchemist of my spirit religion, but he resigned from his position a few months ago, so this place is currently ownerless. Would honored guest Yang like to live here? If you feel this place is too simple, you can also go to one of my spirit religion's gathering places." "There's no need, this place is fine." Yang Kai nodded, very satisfied with this place. He didn't need to make friends with anyone here. Places with a lot of people would also be filled with disturbances. It was far better to live a carefree life here. Hearing this, Duan Hai smiled. "Honored guest Yang really wants to achieve something in the alchemic way. I was really afraid you would want to go to a crowded place." Yang Kai looked at him in amazement. Generally, honored guests who go to crowded places are those who like to pursue glory and wealth, power and fame. My spirit religion has never cared too much about such people. On the other hand, honored guest Yang's temperament is indifferent and will definitely achieve great things in the future. Duan Hai smiled. "Right, this is an honored guest's nameplate, please take it with you. With this nameplate, you will be able to travel unimpeded within my spirit religion. Except for some restricted areas, you can go anywhere." Saying so, he handed a dark nameplate to Yang Kai. Yang Kai took it, glanced at it for a moment, then put it away. "I will send someone to assist you later. If you have any needs, you can tell me through him. You can also ask him to help you with some things." Yang Kai nodded slightly. If honored guest Yang has nothing else to say, this one will take his leave first. Duan Hai looked at Yang Kai inquiringly. "That's all." Duan Hai nodded slightly, used his movement skill, and quickly left. After he disappeared, Yang Kai released his divine sense to investigate his surroundings. This mountain peak wasn't very high, but it wasn't short either, about 1,000 meters in height. Standing at the top, surrounded by white clouds, it was like a fairyland. The conditions weren't bad, Yang Kai thought with a smile on his face. According to Duan Hai's words, from now on, until he resigned as an honored guest, this mountain peak would belong to him. Of course, the spirit grasses and spirit medicines growing on this mountain peak would still belong to Bright Thunder Spirit Religion. Yang Kai first walked around the mountain peak, inspecting the several acres of medicine fields and finding that these herbs were all thriving and didn't need to be taken care of by him. Obviously, there were people taking care of them from time to time. The world energy aura on this mountain peak was also abundant, making it very suitable for cultivation. After inspecting his own mountain, Yang Kai walked around the nearby peaks. In the nearby peaks, there were also honored guests from Bright Thunder Spirit Religion. Everyone here was an alchemist, so they had many topics to talk about with each other. After learning that Yang Kai was actually a spirit-grade low-rank alchemist, these honored guests were all shocked and couldn't help sighing with emotion. Yang Kai also learned a lot about Bright Thunder Spirit religion from chatting with them. Overall, this force was quite good. Indeed, as Duan Hai had said before, the treatment given to honored guests was quite generous. If an honored guest wanted to leave, they wouldn't force them to stay and would only send them off with generous gifts. Moreover, every honored guest had a capable helper by his side, and those helpers, without exception, were all beautiful women with delicate bodies. After living a lonely life for so many years, these alchemists naturally needed beauties. These helpers were all sent by Bright Thunder Spirit religion to assist and serve these alchemists so they could meet all their requirements. Moreover, these helpers were all willing to stay here. It could even be said that in order to become an honored guest's helper, there would be internal competition within Bright Thunder Spirit religion. After all, alchemists had noble identities. Being able to marry an alchemist was also their hope. On top of that, these mountain peaks were good places to cultivate. In a crowded area, there wasn't much world energy, so cultivating here would be of great help to the improvement of one's strength. Staying by an alchemist's side, there would be no shortage of pills for cultivation. These various benefits naturally attracted many people's attention. Yang Kai wandered around for 2 or 3 days in a row, visiting many of his peers and familiarizing himself with them. He also gained a good understanding of Bright Thunder Spirit religion and saw just how big and rich this force was. The forces of the central capital really couldn't be compared to here. Not only was there a huge disparity in the cultivation of masters, but in terms of world energy, materials, secret arts, and martial records, Tongxian realm was far ahead of the central capital. After realizing these differences, Yang Kai couldn't help sighing. 3 days later, Yang Kai returned home. As soon as he arrived at the peak of his mountain, his expression changed. This was because he sensed the presence of a living being in one of the houses. Had the helper Duan Hai mentioned already arrived? Chapter 677. After carefully examining this person, Yang Kai's expression couldn't help becoming startled. He found that he seemed to recognize this person because her aura gave Yang Kai a familiar feeling. Thinking so, Yang Kai walked over to the room where the person was staying and pushed the door open. With a creak, the person who was meditating inside the room was obviously frightened and quickly jumped up, looking around vigilantly. After seeing Yang Kai's face, the person was surprised and asked curiously, "How come it's you?" "We meet again." Yang Kai smiled at the other party. He had not expected that the helper Duan Hai would send over was actually the woman he had met in the Snow Mountain Range, Ji Meng. Her golden clothes couldn't hide her proud figure. She had an impeccable height, a magnificent bosom, slender and straight legs, and a ponytail that was tied up behind her head. It was dark and soft, reaching all the way to her waist and buttocks. She looked youthful, beautiful, and radiant. At this moment, Ji Meng was staring at Yang Kai in surprise, apparently not expecting to see him again. Suddenly, her expression changed. She looked around vigilantly and asked anxiously, "Why are you here? This is not a place you can come and go as you please." "Hm?" Yang Kai was stunned. Without saying a word, Ji Meng rushed over and grabbed Yang Kai's clothes. "You are not my spirit religion's disciple. This is the residence of one of my spirit religion's honored guests. You should leave quickly. If he sees you, I'm afraid it won't be good." "Honored guest?" Yang Kai showed a strange smile. What kind of honored guest? Seeing her like this, it seemed she didn't know anything about his arrival. All she knew was that a new honored guest had moved in. He seems to be a spirit-grade alchemist with a very strong background. Elder Duan asked me to take care of him. As she spoke, seeing Yang Kai standing in place, Ji Meng couldn't help feeling a little anxious and stamped her foot. "What are you still standing here for? Do you want to die? Is it that serious?" Yang Kai's smile became more and more interesting. "It's very serious. Trespassing into my spirit religion's honored guest's residence, any spirit religion's disciple can kill you. What are those disciples guarding the mountain doing? Why did they let you in? Then why don't you do it? Why would I do anything to you? You're such a strange person. Hurry up and leave before he comes back. If he sees you, he'll be in trouble. If he sees you, it will be troublesome." Saying so, She tried to push Yang Kai away, her face filled with anxiety. "You're so anxious to drive me away. Are you afraid that honored guest will see you? Is that person a man?" Yang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked jokingly. Ji Meng blushed and shouted, "What does it have to do with you? Aren't you meddling too much?" "I'm just asking." Yang Kai shrugged his shoulders and grinned meaningfully. "I heard that the helpers of your bright thunder spirit religion's honored guests will be able to satisfy all their requests, and there is even a good chance that they will be able to marry you. Is he his honored guest?" Zimeng's tender body couldn't help trembling. Her beautiful eyes overflowed with panic as she shook her head. "No, Elder Duan said that honored guest is not old, otherwise I wouldn't have come here. Although I don't know what kind of person he is. But he's definitely not an old man. You're really hateful. Why are you slandering others?" Yang Kai stared at her deeply and nodded slightly. "What do you mean?" "Nothing. Are you going or not? Don't force me to kill you." Ji Meng's expression became somewhat displeased. Yang Kai's pestering really made her feel quite depressed, so her tone became somewhat impatient. "Good, I won't mess around with you." Yang Kai slowly shook his head, no longer in the mood to continue teasing her. Reaching out, he took out the black nameplate Duan Hai had given him before leaving and handed it to Ji Meng. "Do you recognize what this is? Duan Hai didn't seem to have told you much." "Honored guest's nameplate?" Ji Meng couldn't help covering her mouth as she stared at Yang Kai in amazement. "How did you—" A complicated light suddenly flashed across her beautiful eyes as she asked incredulously, "You wouldn't be the new honored guest, right?" Yang Kai nodded and put away the nameplate again. Ji Meng was stunned. She had been waiting here for 2 days, wondering what kind of person this new honored guest was and how old he was, but she had never expected him to actually be Yang Kai. He was too young. "Greetings, honored guest master." Ji Meng's expression was complicated as she quickly bowed. "There's no need to be so formal." Yang Kai shook his head. Yang Kai shook his head. After Ji Meng learned about his identity, she had instantly become respectful, making him feel somewhat uncomfortable. "I'm sorry, I didn't know you were the one Elder Duan was talking about. I thought you had sneaked in. I really didn't know," Ji Meng hurriedly explained. "It's fine." Yang Kai glanced at her with a smile before turning around and walking inside. Outside the room, Ji Meng opened her mouth to speak but then hesitated, a look of annoyance on her face. She wanted to cry, but no tears came out. She had hoped to leave a good impression on this new honored guest, but she hadn't expected to overreach herself. Not only did she fail to leave a good impression on him, but she had also ruined their relationship. Thinking of how she had inadvertently revealed her thoughts just now, Ji Meng was filled with regret. She didn't know what he would think of her now, but in his mind, she had probably become a woman who would do anything for benefits. Bright Thunder Spirit Religion Headquarters. Inside a palace, Duan Hai, who had just settled down, hadn't even had time to rest when a person hurriedly walked in from outside. Duan Hai looked up and chuckled. "Junior brother Su." "Big brother Duan, what about the matter I told you before?" Su Chi quickly asked, a faint sense of urgency in his voice. Duan Hai smiled. "Junior brother Su, don't you usually not pay much attention to the spirit religion? Why are you so interested this time? But you did give me some good news, so I didn't disappoint and invited that person over." "Really?" Su Chi heard this and was overjoyed. "Naturally, he arrived at my spirit religion 3 days ago and is now at one of the peaks where honored guest lives. I have sent a female disciple with excellent aptitude to serve him. I believe he will soon forget to return," Duan Hai said as he stood up. Walking over, Duan Hai personally poured a cup of tea for Su Chi and praised, "Junior brother, this time it is all thanks to you. My spirit religion is rarely able to win over such a good seedling. He will definitely be of great use to us in the future. I will report this matter to the religion master and there will be no shortage of rewards for you." Su Chi's expression was strange, not showing the slightest trace of happiness after hearing these words. Duan Hai saw this and couldn't help asking, "What's wrong? Is there something else you want to say?" "Big brother, I won't hide it from you. The reason I asked you to personally invite him over was not because of his identity as an alchemist." "Then why?" Su Qi released his divine sense slightly. After checking his surroundings and confirming that there was no one else nearby, he beckoned to Duan Hai. Seeing him act so solemnly, Duan Hai couldn't help becoming serious, quickly realizing something was amiss and leaning over to listen. It's because of the coffin-carrying man. Duan Hai's body shook as he stared at Su Qi in amazement. After a long time, he lowered his voice and asked, "What do you mean? What relationship does he have with the coffin-carrying man?" "I don't know. Big brother, do you remember the last time I took some people out, I accidentally encountered the coffin-carrying man?" "Of course I remember. The other disciples and I followed the coffin-carrying man. We arrived at Bold Independent Union's raging flame city. There, the coffin-carrying man stopped, and Big Brother should have heard about what happened next. I heard that the coffin-carrying man captured a disciple from Bold Independent Union and then disappeared. He wasn't a disciple of Bold Independent Union. After the incident, we found that this person's origins were unclear, but he had some kind of friendship with two female disciples from Bold Independent Union. The person who was captured by the coffin-carrying man was the honored guest that Big Brother invited back." "What?" Duan Hai paled. "It really was him. Are you sure you weren't mistaken?" Su Qi also shook his head. "To be honest, I really thought I was mistaken. When I accidentally saw him in Grand Boulder City that day, I could hardly believe my eyes. However, I am 100% certain that he was the one who was captured by the coffin-carrying man. How could such a thing happen? Everyone thought that after being captured by the coffin-carrying man, there was no chance of survival, but now that Yang Kai had actually reappeared, it was only natural that Su Qi was concerned. Big brother, you also know what the coffin-carrying man means. There is a rumor that the coffin-carrying man is guarding a shocking treasure, enough to allow any great force to grow into a giant. This person was able to survive under the coffin-carrying man's hands. Perhaps he knows something about it. At the very least, he should know where the coffin-carrying man is hiding better than anyone else. If my spirit religion can obtain this treasure, we can sweep aside the nearby Soaring Heaven sect, Luo Sheng sect, and Ancient Moon Cave Heaven and dominate this world." "That's just a legend." Duan Hai slowly shook his head. "But it's worth a try. He's also a spirit-grade low-rank alchemist." "Is that so?" Su Qi was also shocked. And Old Man Du of Grand Boulder City was very optimistic about him. Before he left with me, Old Man Du told me not to neglect him, saying that his origins may be extraordinary. Old Man Du said that about him? Su Qi was surprised, but according to the information we collected more than a year ago, although his origins aren't clear, it doesn't seem to be a big deal. Not clear, but it's worth paying attention to. Duan Hai took a deep breath. Su Qi also seemed to have been splashed with cold water, his restless expression quickly converging as he carefully thought about the information he had collected about Yang Kai before. Suddenly, he found that there were indeed many suspicious points. What you want to do, Big Brother can decide for himself. Whether you want to cultivate him to become a pillar of my spirit religion or give him a chance, Junior Brother will listen to you. Su Qi no longer tried to persuade him and instead left the decision to Duan Hai. Such a young spirit-grade alchemist was truly a rare talent. It had not been easy to invite him here, so if they really offended him, it would be a great loss to the spirit religion. Duan Hai nodded slightly and waved his hand. Su Qi slowly withdrew. After Su Qi left, Duan Hai closed his eyes and fell into contemplation, his expression hesitant and difficult. The legendary name of the coffin-carrying man had been circulating throughout the continent for countless years, and there were countless rumors about him. However, many masters believed that the coffin-carrying man was hiding a shocking secret, and the blood coffin on his back was also something that many people cared about. If not for this, there would not have been so many transcendent realm masters following behind the coffin-carrying man, all of them wanting to pry into his mysteries. Welcome to Immortal Cultivation Audiobooks, your gateway to the mystical world of Xianxia. Dive into legendary tales of martial arts, spiritual growth, and immortal ascension. Here, we bring you full-length English audiobooks of the best Wuxia and Xianxia stories, from young prodigies to ancient sect wars. Perfect for fans of Against the Gods, Martial World, and Tales of Demons and Gods.